All right. Hello, everyone. Imagine this. Your son has just graduated high school. He's going on to college. He's about to be 19 or 20 years old, either or. And he's diagnosed with cancer, with brain cancer that's incurable. He's done everything he's supposed to in school, and they tell you that there's nothing you can do but do chemotherapy, and that he's going to be given a year to live, and chemotherapy by a couple of months, give or take on that. And you decide that chemotherapy is not what you want to do. Your son doesn't know what to do either, and you're just basically distraught with emotion, and no one knows, no doctor can tell you anything because all they say is it's incurable. So you find out that there's a renegade doctor out in Houston, Texas, that tells you there's a cure that he has that's worked on multiple patients, and he also tells you that he can do it for free. And he's been a doctor for a very long time, and he's been kicked out of his practices because the FDA and other doctors didn't approve of what he was doing because of quote unquote that it was incurable and they weren't liking what he was doing. So you go down there and you let the doctor do what he does, and it's helping your son's feeling better. His headaches are going away for the very first day, 4-hour treatment. His headaches are going away. He can finally write a little bit better, and he's becoming his normal self. And then out of nowhere, police, FBI, everyone pulls up to the place that you're getting the practice done, and they shut the whole thing down, and they basically tell you you're not allowed to do it. That's what happened with Neil Farquhar and his family. And it's pretty sad to think about because, I mean, they tell you it's incurable, and when somebody is offering you, medical help or anything like that, I mean, for your son is 20 years old and there's no cure, once you're in a place like that, a position like that, you're going to take it regardless. So I tell you guys that today to open up this whole thing of the whole conspiracy behind a lot of medication, but today we're going to just do cancer and cures and medications and things like that. And what I wanted to start with is the world is obviously ran around money. Anything you do, any decisions you make, where you work, how you work, the decision on where you're going to live, recreational activities you do, and even when you die, it's a cost. Somebody's going to have to figure out where you're going to lay and everything else. And it's pretty sad to think about, but it's the truth, sadly. So why would it surprise anyone to think that all this is also ran around money? Big Pharma makes over $100 billion a year off of just cancer medication, not talking chemotherapy. And chemotherapy has been literally proven not to really work other than give you a few more months to live. But it's $11,000 to $12,000 more a month, $11,000 to $12,000 a month for chemotherapy patients. And basically at this point and you get weaker as you're going on through your whole life, and it's really sad. Like this stuff is crazy to think about, but it's the truth. And I wanted to get into this right here, where the causes behind cancer that no one tells you about. They say the cause of cancer is, they usually tell you it's genetic stuff, things you can't control, and then other things like smoking, which is tobacco, other things like that, and also skin cancer. They tell you stuff from the sun and stuff like that, which is all true, but they don't tell you another one, which is a big one that no one really speaks of, which is eating meats and eating red meats and processed meats and stuff like that. And no one at all, like, actually on the American Cancer Society's page, they have recipes with red meats and processed meats, and it's been proven, literally proven, to give you all types of different cancers, and not eating the meats will literally, reduce the causes. And there was a study done, a research done, and they were asked questions, and what the answers and questions they had in this was literally, how many cancer cases can be attributed to consumption of processed meats and red meats? And their answer, this is the American Cancer Society, their answer said, according to the most recent studies by the Global burden of disease project, about 34,000 cancer deaths worldwide can be attributable to diets high in processed meats. That's just processed meats alone. And an analysis of data from 10 studies estimated that every 50 gram portion of processed meats eaten daily increases the risk of colorectal cancer by about 18%. And they don't tell you anything like that, and it's pretty sad because they want you to keep living the way you're living. They want you to keep, it's all a business. At the end of the day, it's all about money. And if you keep paying for the medication that's gonna, quote unquote, give you months to live, give you extra time to live, then nothing's gonna happen. And this man named Dr. B, I'm gonna start this down here. This man named Dr. B, he was a doctor for a long time, and he got kicked out of his practice because he started doing his own thing, which was basically a high diet in like vegetables, kale, turmeric stuff, and he got kicked out of his practice because he even got his license suspended. And he's been sued multiple times by the FDA, by the government. And when it gets down to it, they really can't do anything to him because they lose every battle because he's not doing anything wrong, really, morally. And so much support he's been given by his patients, by other people that are also, his patients' families. They also give support. So I'm gonna start this for you guys. I'm gonna start with the chemotherapy, like I was telling you guys, 11,000 to 12,000 a month, proven not to work. And throughout the chemotherapy, people are just very sick, and life is just basically a ticking time bomb at that point. This is Dr. B. He has a very long name. You guys can try to go ahead and call that if you want. He has proven his ways of work throughout, though different than the FDA, but he got his medical license suspended. He's not even called a doctor, quote unquote. And the federal prosecutors, as you see, they put him on trial. This is from an actual newspaper. And this is $700,000 from his patients. This is back in like late 1990s. And now he has way more support than what he did at one point. And it's just sad to think that this man literally has proven studies that have worked, and he won't get any support by any of those doctors because it's a business. I put him in here because I felt like he definitely needed to be. This was the kid that was 20 years old. His name was Neil. He was just like us, freshman. He played high school sports. When he first got his diagnosis of like everything going on, when he was first going to see his symptoms and stuff, he thought it was just because he had concussions from sports, just like I know a lot of us who play sports. He thought it was just concussions while he was having headaches and stuff like that. He thought he was recovering, and it turned out to be that. He was the one that he told his parents that he wanted to do the doctor out of Houston instead of chemo and everything, and he always lived life with a smile. And he died 2 years after therapy, but it was longer than what they had given him for chemo. And they kept turning him, the sad thing about it was they kept putting it on and off. Like the FDA and the government cut his practice multiple times. They would come and make them stop multiple times before the federal government had to tell them, like, you can't do this anymore, let him do what he's doing. This is his family. I want to go on with his family too. I feel like they need recognition. His family, they get donations from other patients, other people just worldwide, and they just basically, donate it to cancer patients, whether it's school supplies, tutors, or anything like that, because it's very hard to learn when you're going through stuff like that. And yeah, so I wanted to put them in there. Processed meats. This is just a few of the things that are processed meats: cookies, French fries, hot dogs, crackers, donuts, and this is some of the stuff that's actually proven to decrease the risk of getting cancer. And I wanted to give you guys a quote by Julian Whittaker, a medical doctor, and it's pretty long, but it's actually just. You have doctors who are spending 3 years just to learn how to do chemotherapy, radiation. You have specialized in radiology. You have cancer surgeons. You have this entire industry built on the idea of purging the body. Even though we find that doesn't work, that industry is not going to just pack up and go away. The American Cancer Society actually found a cure for cancer, and their bylaws it says it must disband. The American Cancer Society should have been funding Dr. B. His data was clearly proactive, but they got on board and put him out of office. And yeah, like I was saying from the beginning, they just don't want to support the man because they see money instead of everything else. On the website, I want to name a few of the foods they have on there. which surprised me to think of, because at least you would think they wouldn't put recipes on there for cancer patients. They put healthy recipes such as spicy barbecue peach pulled pork sandwiches, beef, heavy beef stew, lime pork tenderloin, and stir fry with pork, which are all types of meats that we just seen named up there. But hey, that's the world we live in. $147 billion are made in profit from cancer drugs. It's a $100 billion business just from chemotherapy. And the Wall Street Journal reports that the average monthly cost for cancer patients that don't use chemotherapy now exceed $10,000 a month. And the last fact I wanted to just say to you guys was each year, 14 million people will be told they have cancer, and 7.6 million of them die from the disease. And most of them are told they get from the brain cancer patients. They're usually given only up to a year to live. And I just think it's sad that, there's been cures out there from other doctors and stuff that's been proven to help and decrease, the risk of getting cancer, but we just don't talk about it. So I hope you guys learned something today, and I hope this information sticks with you for the rest of your life, because half the world does get cancer.